So, if you guys notice on your tables, some of you guys have big gallon jugs of glaze. Okay, I've got them labeled. We have 2 tables for metallic brown, and that's just because a lot of you guys chose metallic brown. Black is back there on table 6, and we have amber over there on the round table. So you guys will need to go wherever your glaze color for your inside is. If you can't remember what color you chose for your inside, I have your glazing worksheets over there on the counter. You can check it before you do this, okay? So what we're going to do for the inside, okay, if your inside is open, quite open like this one, we're going to use a pouring method. But if you have a project where the neck of the project went in real tight and you can't even see the bottom, you're going to probably just paint the top part, okay? You don't need to pour, which is what I'm going to do next, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the metallic brown, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour a small amount inside the project, and then I'm just going to kind of roll it around. It's going to save me some time, okay? Now there's 2 problems with this that you could possibly run into. One is that you pour too much glaze into the inside and you have to find a way to get it out. You don't want to put too much glaze on the inside, because if you do, if that settles at the bottom and you have like a 1/2 inch thick of glaze sitting at the bottom, remember it gets fire, it turns into glass. Then you have a 1/2 inch thick of glass there, and that glass could actually cause your bottom to break off, okay, because there's too thick of glass there at the bottom. So you want to make sure, just start with a little bit, you can always go back and get more, okay? So I'm just going to pour a little bit in here. Sometimes the glaze is kind of thick, sometimes it's thin. It's different every time you use it. Now this is metallic brown. So I've got it there on the bottom, okay? You guys can see that? Got it here at the bottom. And then all I'm going to do is roll this around. And by rolling it around, that's going to give me a nice even coat and give me just enough to cover the surface, okay? That's kind of hard to see. Need to put a little bit more in there. And again, you would rather have not enough than too much. Just leave that off because now, when you glaze, the rule of thumb is you have to have 3 thin coats of glaze to get a finished layer, to just have enough to fire properly. By pouring using this method, you'll get 3 coats. And then what I'm going to do, once I kind of make it all go around as much as I can, I'm going to take one of these tall brushes that I just cleaned off, and I'm going to use it to just kind of take the glaze that's sitting here at the bottom, and I'm just going to pull it up. Pull it up along the sides. Glazing should not take that long, okay? You don't have to be super nice and neat with it. All you have to do is just make sure that you're covering all your bisqueware. So when you're looking at your project, you shouldn't see any clay peeking out from the glaze. So make sure it's all covered. And just because it's getting fired doesn't mean that it's going to melt and cover up areas that you don't have painted over. That does not happen. Glaze will only go where you've painted it. So I'm just going to take this and continue to lift it up. It's kind of hard. That's why these tall brushes are helpful. And again, you just don't want to leave a thick layer of the glaze sitting at the bottom. So make sure that you're always going back to the bottom of your project and you're painting it up along the walls. And because the clay is still porous, it will soak up and kind of dry out the glaze pretty well. And so what I'm going to do, I am going to make this go on the outside. So I'm going to show you guys how this is going to look. Get an area here. I'm just going to grab glaze here from the bottom. So I'm going to take this up and over. And again, you can choose to do whatever you want. If you want to bring this outside color in, you wouldn't bring it all the way up here. I'm going to take it all the way up. I'm going to paint it here. And then I'm just going to basically fade it off and just kind of clean it off. my brush like this. And I'm gonna make it really uneven because I want it to feel really natural. I don't want to have an abrupt start and finish to any of my glaze colors. I want it to just kind of blend in. So I'm just going to kind of fade it off, make it real uneven. So I'll leave it like that. And then when I paint my outside color, I'll just paint it right on top. Do the same thing, kind of a nice unfinished, uneven edge, okay? So what you guys need to do, go to the color that you have for your inside, start painting, okay? Thank you.